Hey, sports fans, PB&Z Sports Chaos, and it's World Championship season. Right now, we got the World Series starting tonight, but you know what? You know, it already kicked off. The repeat of the Celtics are already 2-0, two dominating wins, including a record-tying three-pointers in the opening night game. But let's talk World Series real quick, PB. We got Dodgers. I think both you and I picked Dodgers. We got Yankees. We did not pick Yankees. I think we both picked the Orioles, if I remember correctly, right? To win, to make the World Series. But these two have been the best teams pretty much the whole season. And you have probably the two MVPs of the leagues playing, Shohei versus Aaron Judge. What do you think of this series?
Yeah. And it's not often in baseball you see the two best teams actually end up meeting in the World Series. One of them inevitably gets knocked off, right? So I think the two best teams are there and they both deserve to be there. They've both been playing well, not just during the season, but they've both been playing well during the playoffs too. So,
By the way, 12th time ever, Dodgers, Yankees, World Series. It ties Celtics, Lakers for championship battles.
oh,
But the
wow.
Yankees have won 8 of those first 11. So
Wow. Okay. So I think it might be 8 out of 12 because I'm going to take the Dodgers. I mean, we picked the Dodgers on the outset. I like to stick with my guns, number one. And number two, I just can't find it in my heart as a Red Sox fan to pick the Yankees to do anything. So I'm going with a little bit of my heart, but a little bit of my head. And I'm going to ride the Dodgers on this one. I think it's going to go 7, though.
a lot of talk about Judge and Shohei, but the two guys, you remember the beginning our baseball preview show, my not world MVP picks were Juan Soto, Mookie Betts. And both of those guys, Mookie obviously got hurt during the year when he was really hot. He missed almost 2 months. Juan Soto had a great year. Other than Judge's unbelievable year, Juan probably would have been the MVP. Those two guys could be the MVP of the play. One of them could be the MVP of this World Series, do you think?
We agree with that 100%.
So for me, the Yankees to win this thing, Garrett Cole, first of all, he's pitching tonight in Dodger Stadium, so Dodgers have home field. Garrett Cole has to be the stud for them to win it because the Dodgers don't really have a true number one that's going to be in the series. They're either hurt or they don't have him anymore. So Garrett Cole has to win 2 games minimum, then maybe has to pitch on 3 days rest in Game 7, right?
Possibly. Yep. We'll see how they manage him. But yeah. So you going Dodgers, you going Yankees.
I'm going to go, you know what? I was so close to taking Yankees. Stephen A. and I heard Mad Dog Russo pick Yankees, and they gave me good reasons why. But one thing the Mad Dog said was the Dodgers had a harder road to go. They didn't play the JV of the American League like the Dodgers, like the Yankees did. So I'm going Dodgers.
All right. There's two Dodgers for you right there.
Yes, and 7. All right, let's talk a little college football. We're not going to pick a game that usually is a game we pick every year, and that's Florida State going to Miami, simply because Florida State is atrocious this year. It's a shame because this would have been a good game if Florida State lived up to their billing. The Hurricanes are 6-0, right? I mean, 7-0 is
They're
number
the other
6
end
in
of
the
the
country.
spectrum. Yeah,
Yes.
they're the other end of the spectrum. So
It's
right.
unbelievable. So we can't pick that game, but we're going to pick a couple of interesting games. First one is number 8 LSU versus Texas A&M. We're going to pick it at 2.5 because that's what we gave G money to pick it at. It's now dropped down to 1. What's your pick on that game and why?
Yeah. Which means the money's coming in on AM at this point. But I've watched
No,
the
LSU
LSU.
because A&M was the favorite at 2.5.
Oh, I thought LSU was getting 2.5.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were. Yeah, LSU's getting 2 now. Correct. Now it's down to 1.
which means the money's coming in on A&M,
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Yeah.
right? It's coming
I
in.
it's
It's coming.
whichever way it is. I got LSU winning this game. I don't
Yep.
care about the spread.
And I do too. And the reason because they've been very resilient. They've played 2 really tough matchups these last couple of weeks, and they pulled both of them out. One was against Ole Miss a couple of weeks ago, and then again last week against Arkansas. And they showed that they can hang in there and play well. One of those games was on the road, right? Arkansas was on the road last week. I'm going to take LSU to win outright. To your point, so G Money has the opposite.
All right, let's stick in the SEC. Let's go the other big SEC game going on. Number 21, Missouri goes to number 15, Alabama, who now has 2 losses after losing last week. They've never
Yeah.
had 3 losses going into November. since I don't even know when. They're going to be fired up, I think, Alabama. And by the way, Missouri, who's having a good year, they lost their quarterback, Brady Cook, I believe is his name. He's not playing. What do you think of this game? It was 16.5. That one's another one that points are coming in, bets are coming in on someone else. But it was for 16.5. It's down to 14, but we'll pick it at 16.5. Bama gets the 16.5.
Right. So it's down to 14. That means the money's coming in on Mizzou.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, which is, again, to me, it's a little bit of a trap, but
It's
this is
at
a tough
Bama.
one.
It's Bama. They're coming off a bad loss last week, right?
They're on the road, right? Are they
Hammer
on the road?
down. Hammer down.
Are they on the road?
No, Bama's home.
Oh, they're home. Okay. Yeah. I think that because they're coming off the loss, I think it's a trap game with that spread. I'm surprised the money's coming down. That means money's coming in right now on Mizzou. So people are thinking, oh, Alabama doesn't have it. I'm going to take Mizzou. G Money's taking Mizzou, but I'm going Bama on this one. I have had Bama written down. I'm sticking with
I mean,
Bama.
Mizzou's playing with the backup quarterback. I don't even know who he is, so I don't see it happen. They got a couple other injuries as well, so I'm with you. I got Bama as well. All
Okay.
right, let's go to a big one, only because they're undefeated, which doesn't happen very often in the 112 times I think they've played now. Notre Dame plays Navy. This is at a neutral field. I believe it's at MetLife Stadium, if I'm not mistaken, or whatever the stadium is that the Jets play at and the Giants play at. It's
Yep.
So Notre Dame versus Navy. Notre Dame 13.5 points favorite. That's come down to 12, but we're picking at 13.5. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's come down, which means money's coming in on Navy. But I'll tell you, Notre Dame's been looking good. Navy, despite their undefeated record, they don't play a tough schedule. You know, they're not used to playing teams of this caliber. Notre Dame's fans travel well. So even though it's a neutral site, it's going to be a Notre Dame fan base for the most part that's going to be there. Not to mention that their fan base is also very, diverse across the country and geographically. So
every major city in America has a Notre Dame fan club, right?
yeah, I mean, pretty much.
You
So
can go to a sports bar in any city and have a Notre Dame homecoming.
yeah, exactly. And I think this is another trap point spread, but I think Notre Dame blows them out. I'm looking at like a 45 to maybe can put up in the 20 somewhere, 45-24, 45, 28, which would still be a 17-point win. So I'm gonna give it to Notre Dame. I'm gonna lay the points. Risky, but I'm doing it. And G Money has Navy, by the way.
I'm going Navy as well. And here's the thing. Notre Dame plays down to competition. They already lost to Northern Illinois this year. I got a feeling Navy shows up. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't even know what the over-under is, but I would go under in this game. I think Navy holds them tight, and it's going to be within 13.5 for sure. I think it's 13 points. Literally
Okay.
13.
All right.
All right. Let's talk NFL.
Wait. We have Washington and Indiana.
I almost, yeah, right. We're going to go. The game day.
Rick P's gonna be
show.
fired up.
College game day is in Indiana. We're going to do this for Ricky P. Rick, this is for you, brother. College game day is in Bloomington for Indiana, Washington. Indiana's a 6.5-point favorite. Indiana, by the way, is 7-0. Haven't been 7-0 since '67. They've won 4 games by 40 plus. They've never done that in the history of the school. They're on a roll. Their coach, I didn't realize it. Kurt Signetti came from James Madison, where he was like 128-30, and he brought a few of his players from James Madison over as well. This team looks really good. I'm amazed that Indiana looks this good. What do you think?
Yeah, I am too. And I think 6.5 is just a little bit too much on the points. I think that this game is going to be close. I think it's going to be decided. I think Indy can win, but I think you're looking at a 3 or 4 point game in this. So I'm still going to take Washington with those 6.5 points.
Game day, too much excitement in the crowd. The adrenaline will be pumping. I get Indiana to win this game, even with a backup quarterback. They have a backup quarterback as well playing this game. But I just heard the coach talk about it, and he said the guy's a rock star. So we'll see.
Okay.
All right, man. Let's talk a little NFL. Deshaun Watson is hurt once again, so he's no longer playing and getting like $92 million still. Are you surprised?
No, I mean, that's basically a blessing in disguise for the Cleveland Browns, because I feel like they were at the point where they were playing him just because of what they were paying him and not playing him because he was the better quarterback. And now it's kind of a blessing in disguise. They can move on from Deshaun. Hey, that's a little
I
expression for the
like
day.
that. Move on from the
From
shot.
Deshaun.
We should make some shirts. Oh, I like it. Hey, some big wide receivers are out for the season, right? Brandon Ayuk for the 49ers and Chris
Yep.
Godwin for the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have also Mike Evans a little banged up. He won't be playing this weekend. That's a big stuff. But the wide receivers that got traded, we'll talk about another one that got traded in a minute. Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams. Amari showed up for the Bills, and I said you said he would not be the number one guy. I think he's already the number one guy.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how many balls he caught. He had a touchdown, but he only caught like 2 or 3 balls, right?
Four balls, one touchdown.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens this week.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Let's talk about those friggin' Jets for 1 second. Aaron Rodgers begs for his guy, Devontae. He got some, I think he maybe caught 2 balls, 3 balls. Speaking of someone that didn't show up. Aaron, once again, believe it or not, did not throw for 300 yards. He's not thrown for 300 yards in 28 straight games.
Can you imagine? I mean, his career after 40 compared to Brady's career after 40 is like night and freaking day.
I would say 38 for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I saw Teddy Bruschi today on Get Up, and he's like, Aaron Rodgers' reputation is great talent. Not about wins, not about leadership, nothing like that. He goes, great talent doesn't mean you get in the Hall of Fame. And I'm like, whoa, Teddy. And he's right. I mean, obviously, he'll probably get in the Hall of Fame just because of his numbers. But Aaron Rodgers, to me, is a cancer on a team.
I think he's fallen off a cliff. I agree with you. All these, like, missing parts supposedly that the Jets had and they're bringing in or whatever. That is a freaking talented team. You don't need an Aaron Rodgers to lead. I tell you right now, you know who would lead that team to the playoffs without a doubt? A veteran in this league that went to Atlanta. The Kirk Cousins. You put Kirk Cousins on the Jets with those receivers, with Garrett Wilson before they even got to Devontae, right? With Breece Hall and the young Braylon Allen at running back, and a Kirk Cousins there, that team would thrive. Aaron Rodgers is the reason why they're losing, in my opinion.
So, yeah. Because it's everybody else's fault but his, first of all. He always blames everybody. You see him on the sideline with his antics and like, why didn't you catch the ball? Why didn't you block that person? Blah, blah. I'll give you another guy besides Kirk Cousins that would do better with that team. The guy that's having a resurgence in Tampa Bay these last 2 years.
Baker. Yeah.
Right?
Guys like that. You got guys like that. Good veterans who have always produced, have always been there, solid athletes, team players. Those type of guys would win games there. For sure. 100%.
By the way, speaking of receiver pickups, I cannot believe KC got D-Hop. DeAndre Hopkins? Are you kidding me? I mean, this like the last 3 years, it seems like they get somebody out of the blue that ends up being like Juju a couple of years ago. I know Juju's back once again. But D-Hop, I mean, I know D-Hop hasn't been the same guy that he was, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, but he's relatively healthy with a great freaking quarterback. Oh my God. I mean, and they're still rolling, they're still undefeated.
Yeah, and you know what? If he doesn't do anything in these next few weeks, kind of like an Amari Cooper in a way, when it comes to the playoffs, that's when guys like D-Hop and Cooper and they'll come out and they'll make key plays in key moments to help them win. So I like the move for the long term. I don't think Kansas City's worried about going undefeated. I think they're worried about winning another Super Bowl, and that's what they got him for. They didn't get him to produce next week to beat the Raiders, even though they'll beat them. But you know what I mean? They got him for the playoffs for sure.
Totally agree. Totally agree. All right, let's make some picks. There are some tough games we're going to pick this weekend. I've been going back and forth, and I've been struggling. I've done pretty well over the last few weeks of my picks, but I can see me going 1-5 and 5-1 right this week. And
it's a tough week.
We'll start with the Eagles and by the way, a shocker last night. The Vikes lost again two times now in the last 5 days. They went from undefeated to 5-2. Rams win by a face mask, literally by a face mask, right?
Yep. And now they're 3-4 and they're a game out of first. Hey, but check this out. Check this out with the Vikings. The Vikings could, in 2 weeks, with those 2 losses, go from the #1 overall seed in the NFL, in the NFC, to literally last place in their division. If the Lions, well, the Lions don't have to win because they'd still be ahead of them. If the Bears and the Packers win this weekend, Minnesota's in last place. Can you imagine?
With a winning record.
With a 5-2 record.
Yeah, it's still in playoff position, right?
Right, but it's still last place.
Yeah,
so it's just funny
unreal.
how you can go from cream of the crop, number 1 seed, and we're not talking beginning of the year. We're in the middle of the season now, going from number 1 seed to last place in your division in a 2-week span. Woo!
That's
Crazy.
unbelievable. All right, Eagles-Bengals. Let's talk about this. Eagles-Bengals. Eagles go to Bengals. Eagles had a good win last weekend. What do you think in this game? Can the Bengals finally get both sides of the ball playing together and show up?
Yeah, I think they do. They've been showing progression week after week. Philadelphia's got to go on the road. Burrow's playing, I think, very well. And, comes back down to the coaching for me. I just don't trust Sirianni in these big time games that matter. And for that reason, I'm going
his feelings instead of coaching.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, you're pretty even on both sides. I mean, I put Burrow over Hurts a little bit, but when you talk about guys like AJ Brown and Devonta Smith and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, you're kind of there. Barkley, clearly a better running back than the combination of Zach Moss and Chase Brown, whoever you're going to throw out there.
Barkley still running over New York Giants? I don't know. Maybe 7 days later, still running all over him.
Yeah, he was. I think they'll temper that a little bit this week. If the Eagles do win, it's gonna be because they run the ball and they run the ball effectively. But I think Cincinnati will figure out a way to kind of temper that a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if Philly wins this game. It's a very tough pick, but I'm going Cincinnati.
I'm going Philly. What's G Money got?
He's got Cincinnati.
Okay, so you guys are both Cincinnati. All right, Falcons, Tampa Bay. This is for the lead, I think, in the NFC South. This game for me would have been very easy, except for 2 things happened last week. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans got knocked out. There's only one receiver left, the rookie McMillan. Is it Jalen McMillan? Is that?
Yep, Jalen McMillan. Yep.
Unfortunately, I think the Falcons win this one. But you probably had the Falcons anyways before those injuries. But I would have had the Bucks. It wasn't for those injuries.
It was in Tampa. I probably would have taken Tampa, but G Money has Tampa. I'm actually going to stick with you on this one and go with Atlanta. I think it'll be too much for them. Tampa obviously showed me some vulnerability in their defense last week. I think Atlanta can exploit that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think Atlanta can exploit that. And plus, I don't think Tampa Bay has the guns. I mean, Bucky Irvin might not play either in this one, which means they're going to have to just rely on Rashad White and Trey Tucker had a good game a couple of weeks ago, but is he a real deal or what? So I just don't see enough offensive power on the Tampa Bay side to keep up with what Atlanta could potentially do. So I got Atlanta.
I'm with you on that too. Points. All right. Team, a game that's very dear to you because you're going to be there. The Cardinals go to the Miami Dolphins. Tua returns. And, I mean, Tyreek is ecstatic. You already heard him say, make me wide receiver 1 this week on your team, your fantasy teams, because Tua's back. And it is noticeable. The difference in his stats when Tua is not playing, he is playing is unbelievable. So Tyreek's ready to explode. But Cardinals are a tough team. Kyler Murray, when he plays his game, he's already upset the 49ers this year. He won last week in a game I didn't expect. What do you think?
Yeah, but Arizona doesn't have a defense. And if Tua starts connecting with Waddle and Hill like he does, this is probably one of the biggest teams in the last 4 or 5 years that I can recall, where when the starting quarterback goes down, they go from being a legitimate, could win every week playoff team to garbage.
Totally agree.
And when Tua was in there, they were a completely different team. Let's not forget about their running game. Mostert's healthy. You got Achane in there. Jalen Wright, the rookie's also getting some touches, improving. They start doing stuff with that offense, with those guys and all that talent. They could be the most talented offense in the NFL. And Arizona's defense is not good. So I agree with you with their offense, and I agree with you with Kyler and all that. This could turn out to be a shootout, but I'm going to give it to Miami. I think they actually take them handily. I'm going to 7 to 10 point game for Miami on this one.
I am scratching my pick. Then you talked me out of it. I'm going with the Dolphins. I hope the jinx doesn't affect me like it did to you when I talked you out of picking a couple games earlier this year. I'm going with Dolphins then as well. What's G Money got?
G Money also has the Dolphins.
All right, let's go to the Colts Texans, a battle for the AFC. What's that, South?
Yep.
All right. This game to me was going to be very easily a Texans pick a couple weeks ago, but the Colts have showed life lately. What do you think?
They have, but I'm still going Texans, better team. Even with Nico out, I think their offense can be explosive. Mixon's on the scene now. He's ripping it up. I don't see this game being close, actually. I got Houston all the way.
Me too. What's your money got?
He's got Houston, too.
All right, another game which is probably not going to be close, but one team has a lot, well, both teams have a lot of injuries. One on defense, the Cowboys, 49ers have a lot of injuries. On offense, we already talked about Brandon Ayuk being out. Cowboys, 49ers. What do you think in this game?
And the Niners are 3-4. If the Niners lose this game in Dallas, they're going to be 3-5. Like, you're starting to talk about needing to almost run the table to get, not run the, but you only can afford about one or two more losses. Otherwise, you might not make the playoffs. Like, they gotta win this game. They gotta. And what I've seen out of Dallas the last few weeks that they've played, it's just not been there. And Micah Parsons isn't playing still. I don't see any reason why San Francisco shouldn't go into Dallas and win this game. I'm taking the Niners.
I'll say this. If the Niners lose this game, Brock Purdy's Cinderella slippers are officially lost. They're gone. He's no longer Cinderella. He's done.
Yeah, I mean,
Brock Purdy has to help win this game, in my opinion. Without his best weapon, Brandon Ayuk, and Debo's back, but he's been hit. He came off pneumonia, so how do you know how is he feeling? Right? They're a little banged up. Christian's still not playing, so it's up to Brock Purdy not to make mistakes. And he's been making mistakes lately, so we'll see. But I'm going to go 49ers too.
okay.
All right, and G Money 49ers, right?
Yep, he did.
All right, let's go to last game. I thought this was going to be a great rookie quarterback battle, but right now we don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to play for the Commanders. It's Chicago going to the Commanders. Commanders are, excuse me, Commanders. Oh, what? Oh no, are they in first place or tied for first with the Eagles? I forget right now.
I think they're in first by themselves.
Okay. And then Chicago, all of a sudden, people talking about them as a playoff team because all of a sudden Caleb Williams woke up. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, but Jaden Daniels isn't going to play, and that to me is a big
He's
deal.
definitely not going to play. Is that confirmed?
It's not confirmed, but it's heading. It's leaning in that direction. He didn't practice. I don't think he practiced yesterday or today, or Wednesday. I don't know if he'll log a limited practice day and maybe be able to play. Rib injuries are tough,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But if it's not broken, maybe they can put one of those straight jacket things on him and maybe he shoot it up a little bit and maybe he can play. Is it in Washington or in Chicago?
It's in Washington.
In Washington, yeah. I mean, it's hard to pick against the Commanders the way they've been playing, but Chicago's got this little extra spark and a little bit of life. I mean, if I know for sure Jaden's out, I'm taking the Bears in this game. If Jaden ends up playing, I can't switch my pick after the show, but I would switch my pick back to Washington if Daniels plays.
I'm staying Chicago all the way.
Yeah,
No
I'm going Chicago too. I'm going to go Chicago for the record.
What's
G-Money in Chicago too.
Okay, all right, there we
So
go.
we're all the same on the Miami, on Houston, on San Francisco, on Chicago. The only thing that's different is me and you have Atlanta and G-Money has Tampa, and me and G have Cincinnati and you have Philly. So not that much different this week, believe it or not. Considering how close the games were, I figured we'd be all over the place, but we're kind of aligned.
Yeah, I would too. All right, man. All right. Hey, have fun tomorrow, Sunday. I'm going to the BC game tonight. We'll see how that goes. Talk to you later.
All right, sounds good, man. See you.